Hi, I'm Duncan, and welcome to Cave Country. This is the heart of Central Florida's crystal clear spring diving community. These caves and tunnels were formed over millions of years as the ancient oceans receded and left behind a complex network of caves and tunnels, which are right below our feet. High Springs, Florida is more than just a dot on the map. It's a pilgrimage site for divers from around the world. And for me personally, it's a place that has shaped my diving career. I'm here with my dive buddy Blas, and we're going to be exploring a couple of these famous springs over the next couple of days. We're going to be working on weighting, trim, and buoyancy, and soaking up the magic of these legendary waters. So come join with us over the next couple of days as we explore a couple of these legendary springs. Watch to the end. I think you'll like it.
Blue Grotto offers scuba diving with 3 distinct zones: an open water zone where a free ascent to the surface is available, a cavern zone where you're in an overhead environment and you can still see daylight, and then finally a zone where the daylight ends. You should never exceed your training and abilities. If you're walking down into the entry at Blue Grotto from the picnic tables, the site offers great steps with handrails to offer good stability. Blue Grotto offers either walk-in, walk-out entry into the water or giant stride.
Okay, so we've just got to Blue Grotto. We've taken a look at things. Good news is there's hardly anybody here, so I think we're going to have the grotto pretty much to ourselves most of the day, which will be good.
As you dive into Blue Grotto, there are 2 gold lines or main lines, one on the left and one on the right. If you follow them all the way to the end, you'll reach the lower cavern, which is at about 100-foot depth. Beyond about 60 feet, you lose the daylight zone, and this area is for advanced divers. I have to say that I did my advanced certification here approximately 25 years ago, and this was in fact my deep dive, down to 100 feet for the first time. As you make your way back up on the right-hand side, on the other gold line, you eventually work your way out of the cavern. When you check into the dive shop at Blue Grotto, please make sure to buy a container or two of fish food and take it underwater with you. Warning, when you open it up, you're going to get attacked. As we came up for our surface interval, we noticed a couple of divers exiting using closed-circuit rebreathers. I recognized the logo as the Dive Talk Go rebreather. I'm a fan of the Dive Talk podcast and follow Woody and Gus. Went over to talk to him, and it turned out to be Dr. Doug Ebersole. They were actually conducting a class on the Dive Talk Go rebreather, and Dr. Ebersole is one of the instructor trainers for this unit. He was so kind as to explain how it worked for us. Thanks very much, Doug.
So that ends day one of diving. I might mention that we were based out of High Springs and had a hotel room there. And High Springs is more than just a launch pad for the deep blue. This town has tracks etched into its very foundation. Back in the late 19th century, the railroad roared through, transforming a sleepy settlement into a vital hub. Suddenly, High Springs was a crossroads, the place where goods and people converged, fueling its growth and shaping its character. That legacy lingers in the brick buildings downtown, the echoes of whistles in the air and the very layout of the streets that still seem to parallel a once long-gone iron spine. It's the history, this connection to movement and transit that subtly underpins its current role as a different kind of destination, a point of departure for those venturing into the silent underwater realms. The rumble of trains may be a memory, but the spirit of connection of being in a place where journeys begin remains palpable in High Springs. And next, a visit to one of my favorite springs, Ginnie Springs. Ginnie is located on the Santa Fe River, a river that has a color of sweet tea, colored by the tannin of all the trees along the banks. Ginnie is always one of my favorite places. It's the place that I did my cavern training with NSS-CDS, and also for many years the dive shop that I worked for traveled down to the Florida Keys, and when we returned back to South Carolina, we often stopped off in Ginnie to take a dip in the springs and rinse our gear off. Ginnie, by the way, is located just a short 15-minute drive outside of High Springs. The check-in at Ginnie Springs was very organized. After that, there are two main diving areas. The first is the Ginnie Ballroom and Spring Run, which leads out to the Santa Fe River, and next is the Devil Springs area. We used our morning dives in the Ginnie Springs Ballroom and Spring Run, and in the afternoon made our way over to the Devil Springs area. I thought it was funny that my dive buddy Blas told me he really had no interest in exploring the caverns. So what is the first thing he does? He goes straight for the ballroom. You should equalize early and often, and you should never feel any pain in your ears.
As we approached the Santa Fe River, it was actually extremely clear. This is the clearest I have seen the visibility in the Santa Fe River ever. Well, that wraps up our morning dives in the Ginnie, Ballroom, the spring run out to the Santa Fe River. After a surface interval and lunch, we make our way down to Devil Springs. The Devil Springs system is home to 3 separate springs: Little Devil, Devil's Eye, and Devil's Ear. Together, they produce nearly 80 million gallons of water every day. Ginnie Springs enforces a strict no lights rule here. Only certified cavern or cave divers may enter the water at Devil Spring while carrying dive lights. This helps prevent untrained divers from entering any areas where their lack of training, experience, and specialized equipment could put them in trouble. As we make our way down the Devil Spring Run, which leads out to the Santa Fe River, we get to the Devil's Eye, and Blas decides to drop on in. The flow at the bottom coming out of the cave is pretty strong. You really got to brace yourself to hold on. And finally, we reach the last spring in the system, the Devil's Ear. While we're here, there's a log across the opening, and I had the idea to try to get a selfie with my dive buddy Blas and I. As As we were leaving the Devil's Ear, I noticed a couple of tech divers with side mount rigs on. It was fun to watch them and notice their trim and buoyancy. Whoever you are, great job. Before I close the video, I want to give two shout-outs. First is to the dive shop Extreme Exposures. Blas and I ended up renting our wetsuits here. I believe it was $12 a day, and it was a 5mm Scuba Pro suit in very good condition. So that was great. Also got some nitrox fills there. Great location in High Springs, and were very accommodating. So big shout out to the dive shop Extreme Exposures. And the second shout out has to go to the High Springs Country Inn. It's located on US 441, just a short drive from historic downtown High Springs. It's located a convenient 15-minute drive from Ginnie Springs and all the other areas. The hotel offers about 16 individually decorated, refreshed rooms featuring microwaves, mini fridges, coffee, cable TV, and complimentary Wi-Fi. The room rate at the time that I stayed was about $70 for my dive buddy and I.
I'm heading home from my diving trip to Cave Country and decided to stop and spend the night here in the beautiful port city of Savannah. Great chance to relax and reflect on my diving experience in Cave Country. In diving, it's easy to go for that next record, that next wall dive, wreck dive, whatever it might be. But sometimes the real magic lies in going back to where it all started. And for me, that is Cave Country in Central Florida. Blue Grotto reminds me of the first advanced deep dive that I ever made, down to almost 100 feet in the lower cavern. In Ginnie Springs, that's where I took my cavern training course and really learned to appreciate the crystal clear waters of the springs located there. These springs taught me how to dive. And no matter how far you progress in your diving career, it's always good to come back to the fundamentals of weighting, trim, buoyancy, and breath control. If you love diving or just want to explore something new, consider a visit to Cave Country in Central Florida. Whether you're a brand new or experienced diver, consider visiting places like Blue Grotto and Ginnie Springs, as my dive buddy and I did in this video. The town of High Springs is also a perfect location to serve as your home base for your diving adventure. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below about your favorite place to dive in Cave Country. Have you visited here? What are some of your favorite places? I'd love to hear your comments. Special thanks to my dive buddy Blas. He has diving experience that spans over 50 years. Until next time, keep diving.